Welcome back to Let's Play Battletech. We're in talking to Yang. What's gonna get him to talk a little about himself? That's a long story, boss. Shortest version I can give you. I signed on after I served my term in the Third Succession War, fighting for the Capellan Confederation. Oh, I was Region Reach, but my family going back was Capellan. So, yeah. If you want to know more, you can ask whatever you want. Otherwise, let's get back to talking shop. Where are you from originally? Bryant in the Confederation. You may have heard of our claim to fame, the Crowley lizard cow? No? Well, trust me, they're delicious. Anyway, as the story goes, Bryant was a really nice place once, a tourist spot big with hikers and fishing enthusiasts, pale blue skies, emerald green seas, booming agricultural business, you know, the works. Never knew it that way, though. Stefan Amaris got it to it a couple centuries before I was born, and, well, that was that. Story goes, Bryant used to have these enormous orbital mirrors, storm inhibitors, they called them. Starleague put them in place. When Amaris took the system in his civil war, he had his troops use them for target practice. Without those mirrors, Bryant reverted to its natural state. A miserable little ball of wind-blown dirt, actively hostile to human life. It's like ancient technology, the secrets of which we have let flitter away from our fingers, lost in some siege somewhere that got blown up, or the computers got blown up, and we're going to use it for target practice. Yes. Turn a one. It'll turn this beautiful place into nothing. By the time I came along, the only places where people could live in relative safety were the planet's poles. Of course, you can't fit a planet's entire population to a handful of cities at its poles. There isn't enough space, no matter how far down you dig or how tall you build. A lot of people, mostly the poor, died in the early days. There's still a lot of overcrowding in Bryant cities, even now. Tell me about your time in the military. Who do you serve with? He's in pretty good shape, it looks like. It looks like a lot of the bulk is from his outfit. The 2nd St. Ives Lancers, 1st Battalion under Major Ling. We saw more action than most. The arm is a souvenir of my time in service. I lost the original back in 3010 on St. Louis. You know, when we arrived at St. Louis, I loved the place. It's an agricultural world, sort of a breadbasket for the neighboring systems. Green fields, rolling hills, you get the picture. We just walked out of hell on Kittery. The Fed rats drove us out in '05 with our tail between our legs. So it looked like paradise to us. I remember kicking back in the mech bay, not my feet propped up on an engine block, sipping on a sniffer of ambergris vermouth. Not a bad way to spend a sunny afternoon. Red and usually found in tiny bottles in port shops. Getting larger bottles takes connections. Getting a crate of it, well... Anyway, turned out the Federated Suns weren't done with us yet. We were barely a month into our deployment when they sent the SETI Hussars to burn us out. I'm sure there were sound strategic reasons for House Davian to want St. Louis, but it sure felt personal to me. A long story short, one of their scouts managed to slip through our perimeter and hit my mech bay. I was tinkering around in Centurion's custom-made rumble seat at the time. Being surrounded by all that armor is the only reason I made it out alive. Still, I didn't make it out unscathed. I lost 2 of my favorite assistants and my own right arm. I've got this ugly thing grafted onto me as a reminder. Why'd you leave the Capellan Confederation? After my tour of duty was up, you mean? I don't know. It was just time for a change. Besides, the place wasn't for me anymore. In a way, it never really was. I learned a lot from my time in the service, got a first-hand view of the elitist bullshit that saturates Capellan culture, how it rewards highborn idiots at a common people's expense. Speaking as thoroughly common man, that didn't sit right with me. When my tour was over, I packed up my things and made a beeline for the periphery. Seemed like as good a place as any to find a new beginning. You'll never really get away from the aristocracy, Yang. Hell, I was born a noble. Made that choice. You brought my neck back from the brink more than once, and I probably would have done the same. Here we go. Yeah, but you're a competent normal, and you aren't afraid to get your hands dirty. At the end of the day, that's all I really care about. I wonder how many times I watched talented engineers get passed over for promotion so some idiot with a title could advance. Too many times to count. I was a noble, then I was a pirate. Now I'm a now I'm a mercenary. Glad you made that choice. Heh, way more than once if memory serves. Still, I appreciate the kind words, and what it's worth, I'm happy to be here with this crew. Going career military would have made an enormous mistake. Let's talk about something else. Yeah, let's. This has been a fun trip down memory lane, but I'm sure that we both got more important things to worry about. Okay, what do we need? Let's go ahead here. Let's see here. Beyond each cubicle holding one battle mech, not much. It's all about capacity. The more mech bays we have, the more mechs we can keep battle ready, and the more mechs we have battle ready, the more flexibility you have in your deployment options. Why use mech storage? We have limited capacity in the mech base, so we need to store the overstock for eventual sale or for use in the future. Second, we don't pay upkeep cost on mechs and storage. That's a business thing, though, not my department. Third, and this is important, whenever we pick up partial mech salvage from the battlefield, I put it in storage for you. Did we get any storage? If we gather enough or buy enough partial mech salvage to complete a battle mech chassis, my team will assemble it right away. You let me know if you want to keep it in storage or have it ready for combat. Battle mechs are expensive as hell, so assembling one out of salvage is for our best bet for expanding our roster. When a mech goes into or gets readied from storage, when you send mech chassis into storage, our mech techs dismount all its weapons and equipment and place them in your inventory for use on other chassis. Chassis can stay in storage indefinitely, and don't worry about storage capacity, boss. I'll make it fit, don't you worry. Now, getting a stored battle mech ready for combat drop is a different animal. My mech techs will need a couple of days to bring an empty chassis up from storage. Once the chassis is back in the mech bay, you'll need to select its loadout from our equipment inventory so we can start a refit. The time and cost of the refit is dependent on the type and amount of equipment you choose. Let me ask you about something else. Mech Components. One of my favorite topics. In Mech Bay, you can browse all the equipment we have available. There are two types of components I can install: weapons and equipment. Ballistics. Auto cannon pack a good punch, generate little heat, and can destabilize an enemy if they hit it enough. Ballistic weapons are, you know, ballistic, so they require ammo, and ammo can explode if it takes a hit in combat, which is bad news all around. Also pretty heavy and can take up a lot of space on a mech. Strengths and weaknesses, boss, strengths and weaknesses, and energy weapons. Energy weapons don't use any ammo, but they generate a lot of heat. You may need to invest in additional heat sinks to keep your mech cool if you choose an energy-heavy loadout. And missile weapons? My favorites. Yeah, they require ammo and generate moderate heat, but the pounding they deliver can destabilize an enemy faster than most other weapons. And having multiple projectiles in a shot means you're almost always guaranteed at least a single hit. Long-range missiles are also capable of indirect fire. If one of your units has a line of sight on an enemy, it can act as a spotter for an LRM-equipped units that don't. With a spotter, mech equipped with LRMs can stay behind cover and arc its missiles to hit the enemy. A spotter can increase your launcher's effective range too. Granted, the enemy can do the same to you, but that's someone else's problem. Support weapons are lighter than the other small lasers, machine guns, that kind. I programmed our targeting computers to automatically fire them after a melee. That's what's going on if they're activated. Okay, cool. Tell me about the other types of equipment you can refit on mech. Check the store in every system we travel to. You never know what you'll find. Install stronger cockpits to reduce the injuries. Arm actuators that increase melee damage. Rangefinders that increase the range that enemies can be visually acquired. All sorts of stuff. Take up critical slots in a battle mech. Some add weight too. Keep your eyes open for them. Give them a good once-over before you buy one so you know what you're getting into. It's fine and all, but remember, the trade-off is always armor. You know how they say the best defense is a strong offense? They aren't on the battlefield. Don't skimp on the armor, boss, or all that expensive equipment will get reduced to junk with the enemy's first salvo. Yep. Develop better versions of some weapons. True that. Different manufacturers tweak their weapons to deliver more damage, have higher accuracy, destabilize the enemy, a bunch of stuff. Trick is finding them. They're rare out in the periphery, so when I see one in a store or salvage pile, I always mark it with a plus for you so you can identify it easily. Oh, nice. Okay. That's a nice bit of realism there. Repairing damage, we just did that. Whenever you return from mission, stop by the mech bay here to tell me which mechs you want to have repaired. I'm going to assume anything. You run this outfit, so you tell me what to spend time and money on. That's okay, that's not completely true. If I see armor missing from battle mech, I'm going to repair it automatically. The standard operating procedure, and we have so much scrap armor lying around that you should consider armor repairs to be free. So we're only going to get charged on internal structure and gear. Good. Now, if you'll tell me to repair a mech containing destroyed equipment, the techs will strip that off automatically too. I'll list the equipment they strip, but you're going to want to replace it with something. Okay. We saw that. Let's hear. Oh, now you're talking, boss. You can refit. You bet you can refit a mech. You can repair it at the same time too. Just select a battle mech and order the refit. That'll bring it to the mech lab. And what can I do? Is where you let me know all sorts of modifications you want to make to our stable of battle mechs. We've got plenty of both, right? Yeah, all it takes is time and money. Are there limits? Hardware to ask. Of course there are limits. Your biggest constraints are the chassis, weight, and hard points. I can't make a mech as heavy as I want. Negative. A next chassis can support only so much tonnage in weapons, armor, and equipment, so you need to keep its overall weight in mind when designing battle mech's loadout. If your design is over a chassis' weight rating, we can't accept the work order. Now, there are ways of making things fit, of course. Trade-offs can be made, but you've got to be careful. We have the ability to remove armor from individual locations in order to squeeze more or bigger weapons on, but less armor is less armor. You don't want to wind up with something that'll blow over in a strong breeze. Trust me on that. I've seen it happen enough times to know. What's a hard point again? Each location on Battle Mech contains one or more weapon mounts called hard points. Hard points are only designed for one specific weapon type, ballistic, energy, missile support. However, most mechs contain locations with more than one hard point, so you have some flexibility in what you mount there. Let's see. Let's go back. Sure, be my guess. How do you know what mech is good at in the first place? Great question. There are a lot of different battle mechs out there. It's hard to know what they were built to do best just by looking at them. I mean, I can of course, but I'm me. You, on the other hand, are going to need some help. Thankfully, I'm a helpful guy. If you check your technical readouts in the mech lab, you'll see that I've included some thoughts about each mech's off-the-rack purpose or stock role. They're only opinions, mind you, but you might find them useful. We saw that. What happens after I order a refit? Once you confirm your work order, it'll be placed in a queue with other repairs and refits on your timeline. Remember, a mech will be unavailable for combat until its work order is complete, so plan your refits carefully. I suggest queuing them up before we head to the next system to use our travel time efficiently. You want to change the mech's placement in the work queue, select manage tasks under the timeline to prioritize or cancel work orders. How long do they normally take? Depends on the mech conditions you're working in. Good mech bay with advanced scaffolding equipment is faster than one you'll find in a standard Leopard. Cool. Let's ask about something else. Any advice? Sure, the better you lead in combat, the less work I have to do when it's over. Let's talk about heat. Let's talk about it. I can't emphasize this enough. Watch your heat. Your mech warriors are sitting on walking fusion reactors out there. Using jump jets and firing weapons generates heat, sometimes lots of it. If one of your mechs gets too hot, you could damage its internal structure or worse, shut down the engines in the middle of combat. We had that happen, leaving it a sitting duck. How can I affect heat in combat? Each weapon can be toggled on or off. Yeah, we've been doing this. Sometimes you'll have a solid chance to hit with everything in your arsenal. That's when you've got to experiment toggling a few off to make sure you stay below the red line. Make it more heat efficient. Rating in the mech lab. Install more heat sinks on it if you find it that runs hot in combat. Heat sinks vent plasma from the mech's engine and do a lot to dissipate the buildup from jump jets and weapon fire. Heat sinks are your friends. Yes, yes they are. Stability. Smart thing for a commander to understand, boss. Getting pummeled by weapon fire is a good way for a mech to become destabilized. Walking over to rough terrain doesn't help much either. Destabilized mechs can't sprint in combat, and they're vulnerable to falling if hit hard enough while in that state. That would make them less vulnerable. A few ways I can think of: evasion, cover, and bracing. Okay, we've heard about that. Anything? Nope, that's enough for now. Is there? Sure, boss.
Talk to you later.
Customized company. Okay. Command center. Darius. Captain's quarters. Change your company's heraldry and color scheme of your mechs in combat. Okay. Secondary. Primary. Ugh. Kind of like that. Accent. Ah. Okay, give me a moment. We're going to do an accent of white. Or... that looks good. Okay, and... is there a snake? There's a wolf. There's a monkey. There's a dragon. Is that... that's an octopus. You know what? Sure. Eldritch Knights. Okay. And anything else we can do? We can look at reputation. Okay. Ally, ally, ally. Some red navigation. Let's go to...
Commander?
talk to Darius. Ooh. Contracts, and we'll talk to Darius.
What do you need?
Okay.
Catch you later, Commander.
What about the contracts? I'm assuming that's that over there. Contracts. This is the contracts. Okay. Patrol. Sure. Negotiate. And accept.
Calculating course now, Commander.
Calculating escape velocity.
And this is the way it works.
Docking sequence commencing.
That looks cool. Oh, we have to attach to a jump ship to bring us, and then we... okay. That's cool. This is a massive vehicle, by the way. You're on the Leopard's Bridge with Sumir, Yang, Darius for this daily staff briefing. We've received 3 messages from the banks. Loan Shark Sumire cuts in. From the people who are financing, Darius continues. They're considering rewriting the terms of our loan so it'll be easier to seize this ship if we miss a payment. As usual, they're only doing this because they believe we can't fight it in court. Educate the banks about their mistake. I'll deal with it, you say. Later, you record a response. In it, you Sternly remind your line holders that as a financial institution operating on Detroit 3, they must abide by local contract law. You even cite the relevant sections of legal code from memory. Then you point out that as you've kept records of all payments and correspondence concerning the loans, you'll be able to demonstrate in court that their proposed revisions to the agreed upon terms would represent such a gross violation of the law that you would undoubtedly be awarded a second drop ship at the bank's expense. Once the camera is off, Supermario says there's no way they push you on this. Too bad. I'd like to see loan sharks grovel. Okay. Loan status fair. So we get events, little role-playing events that happen while we travel. Decker's out of action until then. Oh no, we're not going to get the Vindicator. There we go. Keep going. There we go. Ready to proceed to our current contract? Yes. Okay. So, going to bring Behemoth. Going to bring Glitch. Going to bring my Blackjack. And we have a Locust. Going to have Medusa. A Lance is 4 mechs, so that's what you're going to be running with. Going to wait till the load and then going to save, and that'll be the end of this video, and I'm going to go on and do other things. Called shots. Reduces indirect fire penalties and reduces weapons minimum ranges. Finding a military lance in backwater like this should be no challenge at all. Trace alienation to the Star League Defense Forces 3rd Regimental Combat Team. Huh. Send a pirate to kill pirates. That makes sense. Begin mission.
Command interface initiated.
We got them, Commander, right out in the open. These guys are amateurs. Get eyes on them and take them out. Good hunting, Commander. Olivara out.
Who fights over a place like this?
We're going to save the game. LP1. Thrift. Okay. And that'll be it. Talk to you later. Bye.